You know, when you think of Bill Belichick's time with the Patriots, you think dynasty. It's legendary. But what if I told you his genius wasn't just about X's and O's on a whiteboard? What if it was built on a deep, almost scholarly commitment to military history? Because for Belichick, the football field is a battlefield, and the blueprints for victory were written centuries, even millennia ago.
Okay, so let's start at the very foundation. Belichick himself boils down the core of Sun Tzu's The Art of War to this one simple mandate. Now, this isn't just some nice quote you'd see on a motivational poster. For him, this is an operational command. It is the bedrock of his entire strategic approach to football.
And that really is the big question, isn't it? How on earth does a 2,500-year-old book help you win a game today? Well, the answer is that Belichick doesn't just read history for a little inspiration. He uses it as a functional, tactical manual for high-stakes competition. You gotta understand, this whole mindset was forged way back. His father, Steve, was a coach at the U.S. Naval Academy, and that meant a young Bill was just completely immersed in the rigorous, precise culture of the military. He learned to see football not as a game of individual heroes, but as an exercise in operational warfare where process is everything, and emotion, that's a liability.
So, let's break down the philosophical foundation of this whole system. It all starts with controlling two very distinct battlefields, the one against your opponent, and maybe even more important, the one going on inside your own head.
So here's what's so fascinating. Belichick combines two powerful ancient disciplines. He uses Sun Tzu's Art of War to dictate his external strategy, how to aggressively attack an opponent's weak spots. But at the same exact time, he uses the principles of Stoicism to manage the internal psychology of his team, to build that mental and emotional toughness.
And this quote right here, it just perfectly illustrates his application of Sun Tzu. For Belichick, even when his defense is on the field, they are on the attack. The entire week of preparation is all about actively hunting for and exploiting an opponent's vulnerabilities, not just sitting back and trying to stop them. It is an offensive posture, always.
And here is Stoicism in the real world. You probably remember this. After a really bad loss in 2014, Belichick answered every single question from the media with the same 5 words: "We're on to Cincinnati." Now, that wasn't just him being a grump. It was a ritual. The team literally buried the football from that loss. It was like a symbolic funeral for the game, forcing the players to completely reject that emotional baggage and focus only on what they could control, the next opponent.
Okay, so that philosophy is great and all, but how does it actually translate to winning games on the field? Well, let's look at one of the most famous game plans in NFL history, a perfect example of this military mind at work. This is his masterclass in strategic sacrifice.
Okay, picture this. The stage is Super Bowl XXV. Belichick is the defensive coordinator for the Giants, and he is facing the Buffalo Bills' insane K-gun offense. We are talking one of the most explosive passing attacks the league had ever seen. And oh yeah, they also had a Hall of Fame running back, Thurman Thomas.
So when Belichick unveiled his strategy, his own players were just in shock. He told his defense, a unit that prided itself on being tough and stopping the run, that they had to let Thurman Thomas run for over 100 yards. As linebacker Carl Banks put it, the entire room just thought he was crazy.
But here's the genius of it. It was a strategic trade-off. Belichick realized that, yeah, Thurman Thomas was dangerous, but the Bills' passing game was the catastrophic threat. That's what could lose them the game in just a handful of plays. So by using lighter defensive players to clog up the passing lanes, he basically invited the Bills to run the ball. He conceded a statistical loss, that 100-yard rushing benchmark, to win the strategic war. And the result? Oh, it was stunning. The Bills' offense, which lived on big plays and a super fast tempo, was held to just over 19 minutes of possession time for the entire game. The plan worked to perfection. By letting them run, Belichick controlled the clock, he neutralized their biggest weapon, and he kept their explosive offense watching from the sideline.
But look, tactical genius isn't enough to build a dynasty. It has to be supported by an entire organizational philosophy. And for Belichick, that philosophy is captured in one famous mantra: do your job. And its origins? They lie in his deep study of World War II.
To really understand his organizational structure, you have to understand this military doctrine called combined arms. It's the idea that victory requires the perfectly synchronized effort of different, highly specialized units. Think the Army, Navy, and Air Force, all working towards one singular goal.
And Belichick pretty much draws the line for us himself. He sees the Allied forces in World War II as the ultimate model for a team. It's not about one single hero. It's about the seamless integration of specialized groups all executing their roles without a single flaw. And this translates directly, one-to-one, to the football field. For Belichick, the offense, defense, and special teams are not three separate things. They are his land, sea, and air branches. Each one is a highly specialized unit, and success depends entirely on their perfect coordination.
So when you hear Belichick say do your job, he is not just talking about trying hard on game day. No. He's referencing the massive, unseen logistical triumphs of operations like D-Day. He believes victory isn't decided on Sunday, it's already been decided by the relentless, invisible precision of the preparation, the logistics, and the coordination that happened all week long.
So, when you put it all together, you finally see the complete Belichick Blueprint. It's this comprehensive system for victory, and it's built on 4 interconnected pillars, all drawn directly from history. First, you have philosophical agility, using Sun Tzu to attack opponents and Stoicism to control your own team's emotions. Second is tactical sacrifice, being willing to accept small losses, just like in Super Bowl XXV, to achieve that ultimate strategic goal. Third, logistical precision, structuring the entire team like a World War II combined arms operation. And fourth, cultural rigor, demanding absolute trust and accountability, just like you would find in an elite military unit.
At the end of the day, Belichick's true genius isn't just knowing football. It's his absolutely unique ability to translate these complex, timeless principles of warfare, leadership, and logistics from one high-stakes world and apply them with ruthless efficiency to another.
Which kind of leaves us with one last question. In today's world, which so often values personal brands and charismatic, emotional leadership, is Belichick's cold, intellectual, and relentlessly demanding blueprint still the most effective path to building a dynasty?